Alright guys, so you see this thing occasionally. It's an 05 6.0 truck. Did a bunch of work on this in the past. And then, well, employees drive this thing, not the owner. So it definitely takes a good beating. But we just went through a couple weeks ago, put a new turbo on this thing, and I told him, you can see all the soot and whatnot. It had a blown turbine. Came out the back, blew a hole in it. I had my guy put a turbo on it, right? So I can only get so much out of this guy at one time. He only likes to do one thing at a time. He doesn't like to, you know, mass do things. This thing needs brakes. They're pretty bad. Has a hellacious valve cover leak down the motor. And, well, it needs up pipes. All stuff I did not have approval for before. So, now that we've done all the work, gotten paid on doing a turbo and a downpipe, now all that stuff has to come right back off. Maybe not the downpipe, the turbo I'm pretty sure has to come back out to do the up pipes. So I quoted him, I think about 800 bucks to do the job, right? Which I don't think is too bad, just to get them out. I think I quoted it like, I don't know, 5-6 hours, the up pipes. Not sure what he spent on those, but that's what I quoted him. That includes the main up pipe, I gotta make sure I have the key. There it is. Main up pipe, gasket, both gaskets, all new bolts, all new hardware, and no. Oh, thank fuck. 6.0s, right? You can hear it. When I test drove it after they put the turbo on, or after he put the turbo on, you can definitely smell up pipe in the exhaust in the cab. So I'm gonna pull this down in and have my guy put it on tonight, because I ain't doing it. I'll tell you that. I don't want to be the one to do it. Unless he calls off. Hopefully he doesn't call off. Then I'll have to do it. But this needs done by like tomorrow. So let's get this thing down in the shop and start throwing some up pipes on it. All right, so truck in the shop. You can see all the soot that's like blown around. And how I found out that it was an up pipe is way back in there. You can see where there's soot coming right off the back of the bevel. So we're gonna throw one of them JDM speed up pipes on this. We're only doing the big one, not the intermediate one, because it blew out one of the bellows. Is it cheap? Yeah. Is the guy gonna pay for a super high quality one? And this is where I told you guys in the last video, I am not. I'll do cheap, like we put this on, right? I'll do cheap stuff for you guys. But I'm gonna tell you now, there's gonna be no warranty on any of that stuff. And it's just one of those. Some customers are cheap, some people want it done right. I would prefer to do an OE one. Guy didn't want to pay for it. We were able to get everything down to 800 bucks. It's like $795 and some change, all said and done, as long as we don't go over 6 hours, I think it was, or 5 or 6 hours, whatever it is. So let's start getting this thing pulled apart. We're gonna get the wheels off, get the liners out, get the cab picked up a little bit, and start getting to it. All right, guys, so if you see other things here, ignore it, because I don't have approval to fix stuff like the massive valve cover leak, but there is no leak at the lower. And then we'll go to the side over here. Look at that. But it's pretty much, let me get a light on here for you guys. It's all leaking up at the bevel. So that's where we're gonna have to replace it, way up in there. If you guys look, all up in there. I know it's hard to focus it, but look at that leak. And then we got a leak over here. We got stuff seeping over here. This thing leaks a lot of stuff. Stuff that I am not approved to repair. So I have to just turn a blind eye. And things like this just zip tied into the frame. I don't like that. Screws missing, bolts missing. Stuff that I haven't even gotten to get to yet on this thing. We went through and cleaned this engine bay out in the beginning. If you guys want to go back and look at that video, made a mount for pretty much everything. But it's gonna have to go to the car wash with this like up in that angle. So we're gonna get there. I'm gonna have to clean this whole engine bay out though. Like all of this soot needs to get cleaned. Look at that brand new turbo and downpipe in there. And whoever installed the first one, which we know who did it now, but whoever installed the first one didn't put any of the mounting bolts. So the whole, you could just wiggle the turbo while it was in there. So I'm wondering if that's what broke the up pipe bellow in general, but I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm just conspiracy theory in here, but let's keep chugging along. Also, this line here, that's a vacuum line. I don't know where that goes, but that broke. I'll figure that out. Looks like there's a nubby here, so I don't know. We'll figure out where that goes as well, but slow and steady. There's a bunch of oil in that too, so this thing blew some oil. All right, so I don't know if we mentioned it, but I got a no call, no show tonight, and I guess I am gonna be the one to do this. So I've got everything off now, replacing some bolts. Whoever put the turbo on originally, so here's the oil feed line. So this is a factory style bolt, at least I'm assuming it is, because, well, this was the bolt that came out for the factory at the top. This was the bottom, and then the guy who installed the turbo originally put this in it. Then we put the turbo, and he just reused the hardware. But now that I'm doing it, I've got a bolt spin over there. So I had a second bolt, so it's going to be two factory-looking bolts. These are the turbo pedestal bolts down at the bottom, and everything's coming off. So this thing is ready to pull out. We got, I got everything down there, and then over there, gasket up top. O-ring down below. I'm gonna pull this turbo out and then cover up some holes. I need to unplug. I think I can just unclip it, yeah. So, and then we can just unplug the speed sensor or the VGT actuator, whatever. And now we can pull that. Let's get that off. Well, basically my point in saying that, I just cut the clip and like completely lost my mind there. It's easier to pull the turbo than it is to lift the cab, in my opinion. I think it's gonna be fine. Get that out of the way. And yeah, I pulled this up here, and I can get those two bolts, no problem. So pretty much when you install this, I feel like this is common sense, is you're gonna wanna have this on there loose, and then those will bolt on once this is tight, but get it in orientation. But you do not want to tighten these both down and then tighten this. So, and I remember a long time ago, I like to watch videos on stuff, which it's been, I think, I watched a video on that like 2 or 3 months ago, and it's all coming back to me now. So as I get this thing out of there and watching my other guy do it, it's just a turbo, I can figure it out. I had to go through Ford's Bulletin to do that 6.7 on that 2020 6.7, pulled the turbo off of that to do the up pipes. So this is actually debatably easier, I would say. No EGR, none of the other crap in the way, and that pipe doesn't have any EGR stuff either. So I'm gonna manhandle this thing up out of the way, and yeah, these things, if I knew that I was gonna pull the turbo, this thing takes 10 minutes to pull, which is great. You go to a dealership and they charge you like 12 hours, which is absolutely crazy. So let's get that thing up out of the way and then start pulling these up pipes. All right, so while we're in here, checking it over. Look how loose that is. I didn't even touch that one yet. I don't know how that one is. Oh yeah, she's definitely leaking from there. Fun. We got a lot of soot everywhere, so. Look at that firewall back there. It's coming out the bellow. Looks like it's coming out of both of the bellows, to be honest. Let's get it off and do an actual assessment. Not just the up pipe gasket itself. So here's the bolts and the gasket, which we're not gonna reuse, but look at all the soot coming from the middle there. So all that's gonna go to the bottom shelf. And now we got the first one. Now I gotta somehow get the second one, which shouldn't be that bad. Should be a 13 on one side and a 12 on the other. So I should be able to hit them from right there. That's a 13. So I should actually just be able to hit that from right there. And then a 12 head bolt, I'm pretty sure. Look at that shit right there. We're gonna Scotch-Brite that one. But look at all that. So much soot. And that's how it looked when it came to me the first time. And I told the guys, like, you need to go clean it. And they just throw an employee in it, and he keeps on driving it. So that'll be my job this time. Unfortunately, I can't get all down in there because, well, I'm kind of can't get down there because you can't drive it like that. So it is what it is. So I've personally never done a set of up pipes on these things, and I just assumed that it didn't come with a gasket because maybe, you know, I have to get the other up pipe. Well, it turns out the shorter side gets the gasket and the other side is a bellow, and I didn't realize that. So that's kind of cool. I did go and buy another gasket, but it was like $6, but I guess we didn't need it. So we'll just have one on the shelf. But it does come with the hardware kit, so we're gonna get that installed and see how quality that is. But I mean, it's probably a lot better than whatever that is, but it definitely was done before. You can see this was leaking from the bellow at one point, actually pretty good. And then this was leaking a lot. Like whoever installed it, the bolts on the one side, so when it sits like this, that bolt was loose, that bolt wasn't, but doesn't look like we're leaking out of the bellows, but we did need gaskets, but these things are so cheap that, like, you know how shitty that is in there. So we're gonna end up replacing it, but he definitely had pretty big leaks on that, and between that and getting it all lined up. So we're gonna get it loosely fitted, and then I can get this one from down here. The other one really would be nice with 2 people, but someone didn't show up. I can get that one from here. So the main thing is getting this on and slightly in place, and then you want to bolt this down first. I'm also, for some reason, looks like they had a little welder arc right there, so that's going to piss me off. I'm going to have to get that off. Not going to be a how-to video by any means, but if you guys look, I have everything loose. And I did test fit this. It fits. Got everything nice and flush. It's plenty of wiggle room, and I can hit these from the bottom. The only thing is I got to put the downpipe back into place, but in the meantime, we can definitely hit it. I might put the downpipe back after, because I think that's why I can reach them. So it's a 13 up top, 10 up top, 13 down below. So let's throw this turbo in. So I did the ratchet strap trick, and then it was coming cockeyed, so I just released it and snapped, and everything fell into place like perfectly. This thing is beautifully on its pedestal, nice and loose. That was perfectly centered. I'm like, I am taking this opportunity and tightening that clamp now. Now we gotta get the bottom one. There's a bolt back there I gotta tighten down, and then the 2 stock bolts up here. So let's do that. Man, does that make life so much easier with a ratchet strap. I do that on the Cummins all the time, and it's definitely a game changer, I'll tell you that. It makes life so easy. One piece of advice on these, I'm gonna tell you, take your time and have patience. It will all fall into place, and it did. Everything for the oil feed, everything lined up, everything was good. Both bolts are tight. The mounting bolt back there, no, I didn't forget, and I had OEM hardware in stock. So this needs to go back up here once we're done. I just didn't want it draining coolant. This thing also, when we replaced that reservoir, nothing came out of it. I replaced that reservoir. Nothing came out of it, and we had no idea how much coolant was in this thing, and it was crazy. Literally, it took 2 gallons to fill back up, and they were driving it around like that. All because this nipple broke off when my guy was doing the turbo last time. And it wasn't his fault, like it already was wiggling, like that thing was bad. But pretty much now I can say I installed the turbo and I installed the downpipe, or the up pipes and the downpipe. So I'm doing all this myself. Fab guy is gone, and we're working. You'll see his stuff on the other channel. We're working on the Honda, so if you want to see him working, go to the other channel. But it's coming together. I was pissed that I had to do this, but it is what it is. Be your own people. So these lines are absolutely shot. There's 2 vacuum lines back there that are gonna need replaced. So this thing, just all in all, is just a pile. It's got so many vacuum leaks now. Like, it came in with this one broken, and as I started fiddling around, you can see that one snapped right there. That goes to that. And there's 2 nice ones back in there, so it's like, it's so brittle. And I mean, nothing you can do about that. Once there's soot and heat in the engine bay, it's like they're not gonna last long. All those are, that's all black over there. So let's just keep chugging along, and that intercooler pipe I'll put on last once the downpipe and everything's back on. I just gotta tighten up the nuts back there and the ones down on the bottom. So this is a crazy one. I haven't seen this one in a hot minute. So we got everything torqued down, right? So I'm gonna come down here and I'm like, something looks odd about that gasket. And if you look, I can wiggle. I don't know if it'll pick up on camera. Let me see if I can get you closer. Look at that. All right, so look at that. See that? That's with the bolts all the way tightened down. So looks like we're gonna need the other up pipe as well, because I'm pretty sure it's gonna be doing that on both sides. All right, so I'm gonna talk to the customer tomorrow. I can get the pipe, but it'll come with the EGR one. Now, I'm gonna talk to him about this because if you look at this gasket, now the other one's a triple gasket, this one's just a double, but if you guys can see, there's a bellow on both sides. So it's probably sealing in the middle. You know what I mean? So I'm gonna, like I said, I'll talk to him about it, see what he wants to do. I'm gonna try, if he wants to do the up pipes, I'm gonna try to sell this valve cover job, because I'm gonna go take this thing and get it cleaned off. And then it's like, it's just gonna leak oil. Like you can see, it's leaking oil. Not that, but that. All down, you know what? It might even be that too. But it's leaking oil pretty much everywhere out these valve covers. Like, it's horrible, especially out the back. It looks like somebody didn't put the valve covers like that tight. I don't know. It looks like they're tighter up front than they are in the back. Like, I don't know. It looks like I can see daylight through the bottom, which is not great. So, gonna try to sell that, and I'm gonna try to sell the brakes. I quoted him for everything: the valve cover, the up pipes, and the brakes themselves. Quoted him at $1,600 to do everything. It's not hateful. And then valve covers. I think the valve covers are gonna be the big labor on this side, but I don't know. I've never done valve covers before on a 6.0. I had my mechanic that was gonna do it, and I don't know what happened to him. Everything came out pretty good though. I'm gonna knock these back into their little place. That's gonna piss me off that they're out, but still, not done. So let me know what you guys think, and I will see you guys tomorrow with a final decision. So, by the way, I brought in banana bread, homemade banana bread my wife made, so I guess I don't have to share it with the mechanic tonight, since I am the mechanic. All right, so next day, talk to the customer today. Literally just gonna slap this thing back together and call it a day. The gasket there should be sealed in the center. If it's not, that thing's not hard to replace at all. Like moving the downpipe out of the way to get back there, I can get everything from the bottom, so if we need to do it in the future, but he said this truck's literally just gonna get parked. So we're not even touching the vacuum lines, we're not touching the brakes, we're not doing the valve covers. So I'm gonna put the downpipe back on once JD gets here, and then pretty much take this thing down to go get washed, throw the wheels on, and clean everything up, make it look pretty. I'm pretty sure I got everything done. Oh, that's right, I'm gonna have to put that back in, but yeah, from whatever you guys saw last night, I'm pretty sure some of those vacuum lines go to the heat, and one of those vacuum lines, actually, yeah, I mean, right here's your heater, so it's like there's no vacuum line connected to that. And then the other one pretty much goes to the four-wheel drive, so guess he just won't have any of that, but we'll see. So just went and fired it up. I'm gonna give the customer a call. That side being warped is definitely still a problem. Luckily, that side's not bad, it's just getting the part. So now we have options. I'm gonna give him a call quick, but there is no leak on this side, and it doesn't make the loud hiss that it was doing before. Now there's a loud squeal coming from that side over there. Now, when I order the new up pipe, a lot of them come with the EGR and a new gasket anyway, but it is 1,000% leaking at that one. So I can access that, and well, let's start tearing into it. All right, getting stuff out of this guy is like pulling teeth, I'm telling you what. Like, yeah, I could send it down the road like that, and I said I would, and he's like, oh yeah, just send it. And it's like, man, I don't like doing that, you know? I gotta put this, this wheel back on, but if I fire it up, first thing you notice, this side's quiet, nothing over here. Quiet. You come over here, you can hear it hissing. It's all from this side. But we don't have any leaks, which is a good sign. I'm gonna get the wheels back on it. I can have the part here by Sunday. But this dude is not in a hurry for this thing, and every time I fix something, he pays his bill, or well, he makes me wait like a week or two, and then he pays his bill, and it's like, all right, let's do the next thing, and it's like, it's just a slow process, but everything other than that leak there, we need to get that taken care of and then get vacuum lines, and I'm trying to tell him we need vacuum lines because you're not gonna have your heater controls or four-wheel drive without, I mean, you can hub, but yeah. Need to get that part. So I'm gonna get that side slapped on a while. Just call it a day. This pipe, that was a success. So we can throw that in the garbage. And then hopefully he lets me start on that side, on which I would do that on Sunday night. So, all right. So one of the things you're gonna get with me is I try to treat my customers' trucks like they're my own. So I clean everything, at least I try to. And unfortunately, you run into customers that are cheap and be like, yeah, I don't want to fix that right now or this and that. And I get it because this one is a truck that employees are going to drive. But it's like if it were up to me, I'm replacing the brakes. There's a leak somewhere right around here. I would be fixing that. All this stuff that I do not have the authority to just fix. Valve covers need done, brakes need done, which if I'm going to do the fronts, might as well take a look at the backs. But I get it. People sometimes don't want to spend the money financially to do some of this stuff. This can get very, very expensive, but so can buying a truck sight unseen. Like, I actually didn't even get most of that, but try to get as much as possible. It does need a couple more cleanings, but next step, I'm gonna park this up on the hill and wait for the approval to do the rest of the job. But pretty much where we're at is I'm sitting, we need to get a passenger side up pipe, which means we need to get the approval. Mind you, I still have not gotten the approval. I messaged him, actually we had a phone call probably about 8 hours ago, but I sent him a message. I said I can order it right now or within the next 5 hours, 2 hours ago, and it'll be here Sunday. So I could do it Sunday, get this whole thing done Sunday night, pick it up on Monday. And he doesn't want to do that. So it's just one of those things. There's a lot on this truck. First of all, I didn't buy it, I didn't break it, and I didn't build it. So there's a lot of things wrong on this truck that need to be addressed. There's no dome lights. Half the lights in the dash are out, things like that. Four-wheel drive is questionable. So just keep that in mind. If you're gonna bring stuff to me, I get it. If you wanna save a buck here and there, that's fine. But I'm not always going to be the cheapest guy either, just to keep that in mind. But like, if there's something that needs to be done, it's my OCD just tells me, hey, we need to fix that, and it's up to the customer's discretion if we're going to do it or not. And in this case, it's been a back and forth about a month and a half, almost 2 months now, actually having this truck. That's how little he cares. And I'm like, it is what it is. And I don't know. One of those customers. He has money. Dude's got a beach house. Dude's got campers. Dude's got multiple houses. Owns a company. Like, they've got money. And also in the wintertime, this thing's gonna suck because we definitely have a high pressure oil leak somewhere in the system. Listen to that. Yeah, it definitely needs that up pipe. I'm gonna try to get him to do the up pipe. It's like 165 bucks to get it. Then we got to do the EGR delete on it, so I'll just have my guy weld it closed or make a puck for it, whichever. And then other than that, I mean, that's pretty much all it needs. Yeah, other than that, he can drive it down the road once we do the vacuum lines and it's fine, but it just, this thing sucks to drive at night, I know that. Look, half the lights are out. Like, you can't see the tachometer, you can't see the boost gauge, you can't see any of the gauges over here. But I will say it does build boost now, and there's no leak on the left side. So now we just got to do the right side. Hope you guys enjoyed my rant. See, there it stops. You guys have fun. I will see you in the next video. If you guys have anything you want done, cpstevemiller.com.